All right, welcome back to Blackacre Ranch, guys. So today in this video we're going to talk about what happened to the babies. As you know, from when we were doing our handling and our sorting of the calves, we only ended up with 16. We thought there would be 21, but there weren't. So we ended up missing 5 babies. We thought it was 6 originally, and I went back through and checked my records, and it ended up being only 5. We were thinking we were going to get 22, but one of them just never matriculated, probably had an abortion. So 21 down to 16. So the question is, what happened to those babies? The birthing this year was eventful. When we got our herds, we got herds from Steve and a guy named Brent. So there's 2 separate herds. That's why you'll see yellow tags, red and white tags. There are 2 green ones that came from the yellow bunch. But anyway, what happened is that the set that we got from Steve, out of the 6 females, Kisses 149 wasn't old enough, she wasn't bred, but we were expecting 5 babies. We ended up getting 4. One of them just never had a baby. So that's all we know about that one. At a Brent side, so that would have been 5. At a Brent side, we got 12 that were confirmed to have been pregnant. There was a number that we weren't sure about. They didn't get any blood drawn for a pregnancy test. And there was a number that were confirmed to be open. So if we take the 12 and the 5, that means we would have gotten 17. Well, as the year progressed, babies start popping out. Those who were open and confirmed to be open actually dropped babies. Some of those that were no blood drawn, they didn't know they had babies. So at the end of the year, we were actually projected to have about 23 babies. So when we went through this year, we actually know that we had lost 3 babies. So from their count of 23, that ended up looking like it's pretty good. We subtract those 3, we were pushing around 20. Now every time we did a count, it seemed like there was only 19. But either way, we know that we had lost 3 babies. So the first baby, one baby that we had lost, was one that just was from 93. The baby just wasn't growing very well and just seemed to be very withdrawn, very withdrawn. And the mom would go over and try and nuzzle it and bring it up, and it just wasn't mingling with everybody, and eventually died, and actually had half of it was in the water trough for some reason. But anyway, that was a whole fiasco. That was one. The second baby was to number 33. Number 33 died just right out here.
The baby.
Yes, sorry. The baby of number 33 died right out here. That was the one my daughter called Fuzzy. That was here in this gathering pen where we had the cubes. It died, and it was just right underneath one of those troughs for the cubes. So I don't know if I was to say what the reason that it died was. We did some worming, and we ended up having to shoot mom with a worming dart 2 days after she had gave birth to Fuzzy. She never came in for the cubes, if you remember back to that episode. We actually had to shoot her, dart her. That was the baby. It just never grew. It just kind of looked mentally not there, tongue hanging out all the time, just never did anything, and ended up just passing away. So we gave it Cydectin, and it does have on there not for lactating cows. I don't know if that was the reason why. I'll probably use like Dectomax or something in the future. But anyway, I think if I was to attribute something, it might be to the worming medication. I don't know. The first baby that I told you about, 93s, I don't know what the problem with that one was. So it just didn't do it. Baby number 3 was an unknown mother, okay? We don't know which one it went to, but it was found actually here. So this is our gathering pen. This is Pasture 6 behind us, and this area was just overgrown. It had just junk really, really high. When we mowed it a number of months back, we found the carcass skeleton of a baby. Again, we don't know who the mother was or anything like that, but that was one that had gotten out from the fence for some reason and then just couldn't get back in. But we have barbed wire fencing, and generally the babies don't get out. She just did for some reason, and I don't know where she got out. You know, once the baby's out, they will kind of follow the mom. They can go along the fence line, other things like that. So, you know, if you use barbed wire, it's not bad. I think it's easy to use. I like it, but just make sure your spacings are correct and try and eliminate long stretches without anything. So I might go back and use some metal stays or something where you thread over the barbed wire to keep it locked in even though you don't have a T-post. They're cheaper than putting a T-post. So we're going to look at doing some other solutions, but this one popped out for whatever reason somewhere and ended up dying in this location, and we never saw it because the grasses were too high. So we actually made a find. Steve gave us he posted on Facebook how they found 2 dogs on the back porch, and they're Great Pyrenees dogs, and they're just strays wandering around and everything. So we inherited them, and this is our 2 dogs. This one is probably about 7-8 months old, of what the vet said, I guess. And then the other one is a little bit older, probably a little over a year. Don't know if they're family, brother, sister, dad, daughter, I have no idea. That one is a boy, and this one's a girl. So Darcy and Lizzie. So if any of you guys are familiar with Pride and Prejudice, particularly the one with Keira Knightley in it, you'll know Mr. Darcy and Lizzie. So those are 2 names of our little itty bitty dogs. I like them because they're gorgeous white dogs, but they don't require a lot of attention. My favorite kind of dog is a lazy dog who just sits around and does nothing. But on the ranch we decided to get some dogs because it might be useful. Watch the kids, help the kids, and just be friendly as we go around, and also kind of help keep other things maybe off pastures.
Hi, Darcy. He's such a pretty boy. Little Lizzie kisses. Hi, Darcy.
All right, so we have 2 other babies that we don't know about. And much like the first ones, this is our possible explanations about what happened. We talked about fencing. Fencing, when my wife was doing Pasture 7 and she was doing a lot of fixing of the fences, there were a number of spots that had some pretty big holes. So there is always the option that the baby squeaked out one of the holes. We do know that as of August 14th, we had counted and accounted for every baby, which means maybe some of the younger ones that were born later, those kinds of things, squeaked through. There's always the fence thing, okay? Second that could have happened that we haven't accounted for yet is it could have been a predator. There is a mountain lion that kind of roams around here. There are coyotes, there are some other things. Typically the bison will take care of their calves and kind of watch them, but you just never know, okay? So it could have been a predator, hence why we're trying to maybe get some dogs, but I don't know. Those are 2 options, fence and predator. The other things were like the worming or just the babies didn't look right. I didn't see any other babies that just didn't look right. So a worming thing, I don't attribute any of them to that. I really think it's either predator or fence escape is kind of the situation that we're looking at with those 2.
Oh, Lizzie, are you tired, puppy?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, you got so much playtime. Okay, see Mr. Darcy, he's so tired.
He likes that
he was
spot.
dead for a minute.
I don't have anything with me. I have nothing, no treats.
The dogs are fabulous. Like I said, they're gorgeous. I think they might have been from an abused home. I guess that's kind of maybe a consensus. Darcy, the oldest one, kind of cowers if you were to kind of raise your hand or that kind of thing. So I don't think they're all really super trained. We're going to take some time to work with them and work with us as owners, getting used to them, and just kind of make this blend a good process. So yeah, we're just going to keep working with them. You might see them here in the videos here and there, and just know that's Darcy and Lizzie, new to the ranch. In one of the videos we've mentioned a couple of them that we're going to sell the babies. The goal is to sell these babies ideally. Now that may not happen. We did have a buyer that was lined up and that kind of fell through. Things just didn't work out. And so far we still have them, hence why we've got some creep feed or some other protein kind of pellets, and we're going to kind of keep growing them out as though we're keeping them. Until something otherwise happens, we're keeping them, but they are for sale if anybody wants them. The reason why we're going to sell these is right now we have about 30 adult buffalo, and until I get more of my pasture up and running, I just don't feel like we can stock more buffalo right now. It's more than it can handle probably with the 2 pastures. We're going through a lot of hay. We burned through about 150 bales of hay last year. So we're definitely feeding a lot of hay. Stocking wise, I just don't think we want more. The second reason I think that we're going to be selling them and why I would like to sell them is time. Okay, right now there's a lot of things that I have to do in a short amount of time. There's never enough time. And to try and make better habitation instead of the corrals right there where we're trying to get out, it takes time, and it's just another thing to go ahead and do. So in the near future, we're working on a pen for the babies to kind of reside in, and that we can kind of start rotating them through. If I didn't have the babies, I wouldn't be doing this right now, and I'd be doing something else. But we need to get the babies out of those holding pens. So that's coming up really quick in the near future. Third reason, I think, is just the money. You know, money right now, if we got something coming in that could carry the rest of the feed for the year, it takes a burden off of us that way as we try and keep expanding. The infrastructure, you know, building a bison ranch from scratch takes a lot of money. So if we got a little bit back right now, it would really help setting us up to kind of getting everything else going. But, you know, if nobody's going to buy them yet, we're going to grow them out, sell them as yearlings next year or at any time until then, and maybe make a little bit more money off of them. It's just, it would be kind of nice to have the money right now as opposed to in the future, even though it might be a little bit higher in the future. All right, guys, so before I close off this video about the babies and kind of our status with them and everything, I kind of wanted to review with you a little bit about comments. We, if you don't know, are starting out a first generation ranch, okay? We have not ever done this. Big city jobs. I still have my job. I work 8 to 5, you know, whatever, longer hours, shorter hours, whatever it is. I work a job. Okay, and so we are figuring all of this out from scratch and all of this brand new. So there might be some times when I'm going through and I have an opinion that says, hey, man, I wouldn't ever do this. And maybe I'm wrong, but up at that point, I think I'm kind of right. So what I like to have is comments. And you guys have been doing a good job leaving comments. Some of them I think are better than others, but some of you guys have left some good comments. So I kind of wanted to point those out. If you remember from a couple of episodes ago when we were pulling all those posts back out of the ground and we had forks on the tractor, all right? I had made a comment during that video, I would never use forks to pull out posts. And a person made a comment, you know who you are, that they always use those. And it got me thinking is that they said that they would actually put the post on the outside, not between the forks. They would lift it up, and when they got it up, they just folded it over under the forks, rolled it up, and then they went to the next one. And then they didn't have to walk and carry those things all the way. And I thought, you know, gosh dang it, that's actually a really good idea. That makes total sense. So what I'm getting at is that there's a lot of times your comments actually help me change my view a little bit. And if I make some stupid comment on a video of like, hey, that isn't really what I would do, or I couldn't imagine doing that, feel free to put a comment about why it's good. Just don't be the guy that sits there and says, you're doing it wrong, and then leaves and walks away. It's like, what the freak, dude? I really don't care what you just said then. But I like positive comments. Another one was about pulling the line. When we stretched the barbed wire lines, getting it, really yanking it. You know, I think we did that at the very, very beginning, but just spaced my mind and we didn't do it. So a person, you know who you are, made a comment, you should really pull on that line and stretch it before you finish up attaching and stretching that barbed wire and attaching it to the post. And I think when we go back to Pasture 7, we had a lot of slack spots because we didn't do that. That was a good comment, and it got us thinking about that. So when we put that fence right here, that 5-foot fence, we started pulling the line because of a comment from one of you guys. So we do appreciate it, guys. We don't remember everything. There's a lot to try and digest. We're all new at this. So forgive me if I say some things that are kind of maybe like, oh, well, the guy's an idiot. Yes, you do need to do that. Well, then tell me, you know, in a nice way, okay? So now the last ones are, there are a number of you guys that are super positive. I'm not always the most positive guy. I look at problems, think, how do we solve it, and sometimes I forget to just sniff and smell the roses, okay? I sit there, post a video, and sometimes I'm not a fan always of the video, or just, I don't know, I'm just worried. And I just look to see if you guys comment, because you guys are always positive. And you guys are always nice things to say, and just, I really like that. So just know that we sit here, we love your comments, keep them positive, help us learn along the way, and everything can be a great experience. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. comments are good. We appreciate all that you guys do to help us. If there's things that you think that are things that maybe might change, let us know. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes going through, making decisions, reasons why this or that. So if there's something that maybe doesn't make sense why we're doing it, ask us. We'll try and maybe put it in a video, or I'll answer it in the comment. But there's a lot of factors that influence our decisions. So hopefully we're doing a good job, but feel free to leave comments. Like and subscribe this video, please, and keep with us as we keep going and building this bison ranch from scratch, guys. All right, talk to you later. Bye.